Hunt for Greatness podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Hunt for Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Lex Hunt, and I'm with my boy, Rich Bramley. What's up, dog?
How you doing, Lex?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing great.
Man, thanks for coming to do this with me.
Yeah, I appreciate you offering.
That's cool when I go into your shop and I get my gun and I'm like, hey, man, would you do a podcast with me? I was kind of cutting up in there a little bit, filming a little bit.
It's always good to be happy and have fun.
Yeah, I was so stoked.
What's life without smiles?
Right. I just want to pull this out before I forget. Guys, look at this. This is my Rite shotgun that Rich did, and like the pattern on it's absolutely amazing. And it goes all the way up the choke. I mean, how sick is that, guys? You absolutely killed this thing. So I want to talk about this gun for a second.
All right.
And Cape Fear Cerakote.
That is correct.
Cape Fear Cerakote. That's the business that Rich owns, and it is Kerr.
114 South Kerr Avenue, and I'm kind of hidden back in these. It's the South Kerr Business Plaza. Bunch of brick buildings. I'm in the third building back, very last unit, stuck way back. Low rent.
Yeah, I found you easy.
But yeah, it's but right off the main drag on Kerr. So.
So what's what is the process on doing a gun like that right there? Because that's like not your normal. That's like on another level of Cerakote to me, from an outsider.
The first thing you do is disassemble the entire gun. I usually take out all the springs, the trigger group, anything that I don't want to coat. I'm going to take out any of the springs. Typically, I take out because I don't like to heat springs. That's just me. But I completely disassemble the gun so that I completely coat the gun. Every little nut, bolt, screw, that could get weathered or could get damaged. I try and give as close to 100% protection as possible. Now plastics don't need to be protected, but it looks better sometimes when the plastics match the metals on the gun. And then again, it also looks nice if you do complementary colors or whatever it may be. But first and foremost, Cerakote is a thin film protective coating, and it is the firearms industry leader in protective coatings. It's better than anodizing, it's longer lasting than bluing, it has better scratch resistance, heat durability. You go across the board in all the tests, and you can go to Cerakote.com, and they've got all kinds of videos up there that show salt tests, heat tests, scratch resistant tests, chipping, flaking tests. And they show it up against all the, parkerizing, anodizing, dipping. They show it against all that, and they just show how superior it is. Now, I always tell folks, don't think that this is going to be your last coating forever, or it's going to last forever. It will last forever if you stick your gun in the gun case and don't touch it. However, it's going to wear. It's just going to wear at a much slower rate than anything else out on the market. So it is going to give you a longer life between having to get it coated. And for you duck hunters, saltwater corrosion, durability.
You're reading my mind right now. I was just thinking that.
Is just phenomenal. I've actually had a couple guys bring guns back to me just to get them coated because they've left their guns in their boat all year long.
Use them as a paddle, probably.
Good
job, duck hunters.
They won't even, spray them off with some CLP and throw it back in their case and, leave it in their truck or leave it in their boat or, leave it in the garage. And, after all that condensation, the changes in temperature, they cause condensation in your bag or in your case, which causes moisture buildup on your gun. Which in the end causes rust. Well, the Cerakote will prevent a whole lot of that.
That's so clutch for somebody like me.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen guns come in, that just are so nasty, so rusted up, and you take them and you clean them up, and they end up looking almost like brand new. Now, Cerakote's so thin that if you got some pitting, you are going to see the pitting through it, but the finish is going to look pretty darn nice. And then you're not going to have to worry about that pitting, really ever again. And I make it a strong point to really, wherever it's really rusted, I go after it hard with my sandblaster.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the original question, what's the process? Like I said, you disassemble the gun.
First of all, thanks for explaining that, because that was amazing. The way you just did that for
Appreciate
somebody like me to understand. That's awesome.
Well, cool.
So the process of making that pattern, that's what I'm at. I'm wondering about that pattern. That pattern's cool. This is my son Maddox. I told not to come in here, but he's gonna do what he wants.
What's up, Maddox?
What's up, bro?
Hey. So, well, the patterns, that's a whole different thing. I tell folks, 90% of the work is in the prep part of it until you add the pattern into it. Then it almost becomes a 50-50 sort of ratio. Like I said, you disassemble the entire gun. I degrease it, which is, a degrease liquid. I never touch it to water. It's always a non-water, non-oil-based liquid, so it gets degreased. And then once it's properly degreased, then I go ahead and coat it. Now, single color coating, that's pretty quick and simple. When you go for patterns, then it becomes a, kind of an artsy thing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to think, you have to look at the pattern that a customer wants. And all this is done with high volume, low pressure sprayer. So it's a liquid based polymer that I mix up, put it into a spray gun, and then get to spraying. And to get these patterns, I use a cutting plotter. So I digitize a pattern. I may draw it out, scan it in, turn it into the pattern. I may pull something off the internet and digitize it, vectorize it, and
oh my god, that sounds so expensive. What kind of machine does that?
Oh, it's just, it's a simple plotter. One like they use to make signs with.
Yeah.
Like
How
banners
expensive
and
is
signs.
one of those?
Oh, you can get a cheap one for a couple $100.
Really?
Or you can spend, several $10,000-$15,000 on
Oh
one.
my god, that's crazy.
And then there's the software that usually will come with the plotter. That's really the backbone of everything, because it allows you the flexibility to take and manipulate. Like I say, files you pull off the web, files that's
insane.
You scan in, whatever it may be. And I, quite often will use a combination of hand-drawn stuff plus images I'll pull off the web and then vectorize from there. Then I send it to this plotter, and it sits there for however long it takes, and it cuts these little patterns out. And then I have to think, okay, what color do I want to be the dominant color? What's the pattern of the colors? How many colors am I going to put into this thing? And then, I put on the first coat. I flash cure it for about 15 minutes at a low temp to get it tack free.
What temperature?
Usually about 185 degrees.
Okay. So it's in something?
I have a big kiln that I load things into.
Wow. So you spray it and then you have to put it in the kiln.
Yep.
Through every layer.
Yep, absolutely.
So the layer has to cure and then you can do your next layer.
That's right.
Wow.
I mean, from time to time I may not cure it enough, and I'll, have to go back and do it again. And a lot of that will occur because of fluctuations in the power grid, lowering my heat when I don't realize it, and just a couple degrees. 180 at 15 minutes won't do the same as 185 at 15 minutes. So it's you really got to kind of check, and then you lay down. Then you go to peeling your stencil. You start laying down stencil. Some stencil I'll use a transfer tape, and so I can lay down lots of stencil in a little amount of time. Other stencil, like your gun, I lay down each piece individually.
Yeah.
And so first I'll say I think that one I started with black, and then I laid down the stencil where I wanted it to be black. Then I went over it with, I think, maybe green, and then I laid down stencil where I wanted everything to be green. Then I hit it with the brown, and then I laid stencil down where each time I'm between that, I'm curing it for 15 minutes
Yeah.
and laying the stencil down. So it usually takes me somewhere 2 to 5 hours to do a gun in a pattern like that particular pattern, or in different, depending on how many stencils. Like the Drake pattern that I do, I've done so many of those, I can lay them down really quickly.
Yeah. It's like the old school camo Drake. Yeah.
Multicam, those are, and those are a little easier because it's not so precise, and but it's fun. I love it when somebody comes in and says, "Hey, can you do this?" I had a gentleman come in a couple weeks ago, and his wife bought her first AR, and she wanted a pink cheetah pattern.
Oh, wow.
So he picked out Sig pink, champagne pink, and black. And then I had to sit there and figure out. And so I basically hand drew the whole,
Like you have a vision in your head.
Well, I usually tell folks, a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can tell me in 1,000 words, I'm still not going to see what's in your head.
Right.
I may see a completely different picture. And what I ask people to do is, find something online, because there's a ton of guns online. Go to my website, go to my Instagram, look at things I've done in the past, look at what other people have done, like at Cerakote.com or Pinterest. I have them screenshot it for me, have them send me that picture so that I know now what it is in their head that they're seeing.
Yeah, because somebody could tell you one thing that's like words, and they don't. It's completely different from what they're envisioning in their head.
I had it happen once.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, it could happen with a haircut. It could happen with a mountain of duck.
Absolutely.
It's like, I want to show you a picture. That's what I had to do with those ducks. I had to show the guy, like, hey, this is kind of what I want. But in my opinion, when you're dealing with somebody who's good at something, it's kind of like, all right, this is what I want, but you need to just use your artistic ability and your judgment on some of the calls. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly like this picture. Just do it something like this. I'm gonna be happy. Same thing I tell my tattoo artists.
Yeah. Well, and I tell folks I appreciate that a whole lot, because and most of my customers are that way. They see the value, I guess, that I provide in the artistic portion of it.
Yeah, it is artistic. No air quotes. It's artistic.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't view myself an artist.
Yeah. It's artistic, man.
But it is nice to have that leeway, because otherwise I'd be beating myself up. Is this the right color?
Right.
Is this the right pattern?
Yeah.
Is this, but so I guess I do kind of demand some of that. But most of the time, people are like, "Hey, man, it's up to you.
I've seen your work."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a gun you did for Judd, and I was just like, man, this dude's good. Like, if I see some work that you've done, and I'm just like, same thing with my tattoo artist Sean. He's also done the podcast. It's like, but he's the type of guy where it's like, all right, I want this, and he'll talk you into doing something totally different. He's like, that's not. We're not doing that. We're doing this, and if you don't want to do it this way, you need to go find different tattoo artists. And I respect that.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna be straight up with you as an artist, and if I can't do what you want, then I'll tell you what I can do, and if you don't want that, then that's okay.
Do not bring me a 1970s Satori double barrel, Benelli Satori double barrel shotgun and say, do the whole thing in Odie Drake, old school Drake.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy do that. He sent it from Texas.
Oh, wow.
And I called him up and argued.
What are you arguing with him about? I'm sorry,
It's a Benelli Satori.
And they're super expensive. I don't know anything about it.
1972 Benelli side-by-side shotgun.
Is it worth thousands of dollars?
It's probably worth, $2,500-$2,700 in the condition it was in.
Yeah.
Top, excellent condition. I said, the minute I put Cerakote on, it's going to be exactly worth what you paid for the Cerakote.
Wow. What did he say?
Do it.
Really?
I guess maybe, hopefully this guy in Texas ain't listening, but maybe he had a cache of these guns from old family,
Maybe he's
Texas
going to use it and nobody else, and he's
but,
never going to sell it,
But it just broke my heart to do it.
Yeah.
I will tell people, no. People will ask me to redo, to Cerakote wood, and I said, no, I will sand that thing down, I will linseed oil it, I'll beeswax it, and no, I'm not putting shellac or any, anything shiny on it, because it shouldn't be. It needs to be that nice beeswax finish, and then you just keep it waxed and oiled, and it looks beautiful over the life. I like to take it, especially the older wood guns, I like to take them back to new, and if you've ever seen an old gun that's had that varnish on it, that's all, now it's all yellowed and cracked, why would you want me to put that on there again?
Yeah.
Beeswax and linseed oil is never going to yellow and crack. It's going to stay looking, just look beautiful and patina with age. So I try and lead my customers in the right way, the best way to go. However, I can't help the folks that want an ugly gun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could tell you.
Some people just want
I
an
could tell
ugly
you were
gun.
that way whenever I came in and started talking to you. Because I was like, man, just do it however you want. You're like, no, you need to tell me something. Like, you're like, tell me some colors. Like, what exact colors do you want? It's like, I knew it was going to look gnarly no matter what you did.
Well, I had a guy come in, and say, hey, just do whatever you want to do. I said, so you want your gun, this time a month next year? He's like, well, why is it going to take so long? I said, paralysis through analysis. I'll sit here and look at it and decide something and change my mind, and decide something and change my mind, and decide something and change my mind. And I'll never get it done because I'll never be able to make up my mind. You need to just dictate what it is you want me to do. Then I'll get it done.
It was good advice for me when I came in. It was good advice. I'm not an artist. I don't have that vision to just go, oh, and then, and especially, you can't just say, blah. Yeah.
Do something, just do whatever.
Yeah.
Because I do so many whatevers, and I don't know what your whatever you're going to like. So,
that's
the more info people can give me, and I really like it. And I love a challenge. I love it when people say, can you do this? And can we, I started messing with golf clubs, and I got this little tool
a whole
that
one
lets
of those, I saw you brought some in here.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. Happy Gilmore needed that right there.
So, I did this one. I don't know, is it in the picture?
It should be, if you hold it up for this camera.
Okay, so anyhow, and I got a tool where I can do the lettering inlay, so you can
the ping
see everything.
Zing, baby.
I did this one in the Cerakote gold, and then I sprayed gun candy ingot over top of it, which really makes that gold.
Wow, that's so cool, dude.
And then I did another one in good old OD green, and then filled it with the gold.
Old 7 iron.
Yeah, and I forgot to do the 7 in there, but
that's so cool, dude.
I figured maybe if I Cerakoted them, it might get me to go out and swing them a little more.
Yeah, that's pretty cool right
See
there.
if I can
like
do
that.
some marketing on the golf course just by virtue of being out there swinging.
It stands out. It stands
does.
out.
I mean, and think of it. Say you could do like mil-spec camo, or maybe an American flag theme. I mean, you can get real crazy and do whatever you want. Have a dang nice custom set of golf clubs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Are those your clubs?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Have you done any golf clubs for anybody yet?
I did a couple of drivers, which I'm going to say I tell people I don't do drivers, because the reason they put that big lacquer on them is to cover any of the defects in the metal. I mean, we're talking good quality drivers. I took them and sandblasted them down to get them prepped. And man, there were little casting pits, holes, and
you're probably so meticulous, dude, aren't you? You have such attention to detail, don't you?
The problem is Cerakote is a thin film coating, so it doesn't cover any of that. Whereas powder coat or your lacquers, when you dip them in, then they just run off and they create that really nice smooth coating. But it's a 32nd of an inch thick. This is 2 mils, 2 10,000ths of an inch thick.
Oh my God.
So that's why it doesn't mess up the inner workings of a gun. I can coat the threading on a threaded barrel, and I can coat the threading on the inside of a suppressor, and yes, I can coat suppressors. But it doesn't affect the fitment of the threading I coat the pins on all the on lots of guns. It doesn't affect the fitment of the pins. I mean, yeah, we'll make it a bit more snug, but that's not bad with your pins.
Yeah.
Your takedown pins. So
I did what you said. Whenever I got my gun back, I noticed that the slide, it was a little tight, so I just shucked it and just sat out here and did it. Never had an issue.
And it's nice because once Cerakote works on itself, rubs back and forth on itself, it sort of creates this friction coefficient or a lack of friction or whatever. But it makes itself, it runs really well together.
Yeah.
Really smoothly on itself. So.
Yeah.
Golf club boat parts. I've got a guy, Drake Boat Works down in South Carolina. He has me custom do seat hinges and pole holders and all the various pieces of parts on a boat that are typically your stainless.
Yeah.
So I've been doing them in, he's been doing a bunch of them in black because he does these carbon fiber kick-ass flats boats. And,
I've seen them. They're badass.
Yeah. And so he's, it's not much of an upgrade cost, for his customers to get a custom color on their boat. So we, and they're again, saltwater resistance, so.
Yeah, what is it? There's barely anything on the planet that has saltwater resistance. You know what I mean? Saltwater tears everything up.
Yeah. And, then again, I guess it's the ceramic properties of it. It's a ceramic-based polymer. Cerakote is the Cerakote.
Yeah.
So it's a ceramic-based polymer, and I guess look at pottery. It's lasted for 2,000, 10,000 years, whatever. I mean, ceramics is obviously it's a very strong product, natural product. So the founders of the company obviously figured a way to mix this in a liquid form that could then be sprayed and get this thin coating that's just incredibly strong when compared to other things.
How long has this stuff been around? Like estimate, you don't have to give me an exact.
I'm wanting to say 15, 20 years.
Okay, because I just heard of it a couple years ago. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it, I'm in my 6th year of having a federal firearms license and doing it, let's say, legally.
Yeah.
I started, I got into it as a garage project. I got into it basically because I have twin boys, and when they were about 5, I bought them each a Mossberg 500 pump shotgun. By the time they were 11, the shotguns looked like they were 50.
Yeah. I
mean, they were just, and Mossberg just does not they put a very light bluing on it, but that's why the guns are $320.
Right.
Phenomenal guns, by the way. I love them.
Yeah, they still cycle.
Yeah. I mean, just so anyhow, the guns were looking beat up and old. I happened to be working at a gun shop at the time and was noticing Thompson Center was doing a ton of their guns. They were Cerakoting all their barrels and receivers. And I was like, what is this? And I started looking at it. I had to educate myself because customers were asking, what's this Cerakote? And so, they expect you, some low hourly paid guy who's doing a job because he lost his real job in construction. He's just trying to make ends meet. But they expect you to know this stuff. So, I found it out, and then I said, man, I got a sandblaster at the house. I got a kiln at the house. Because at the time I was married to a potter.
So you could use that kiln.
So I used her kiln. And I said, because you got to be able to get, like, shotgun barrel. A lot of do-it-yourself guys will do it in their ovens, which really isn't a good idea from the off-gassing that Cerakote does. 1, in the house, and 2, in your oven, and the residues it can,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go be cooking my meals after coating a bunch of Cerakote,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But you also can't fit 90% of your shotgun barrels in an oven. So you have to have some way to get those barrels up to about 300, 350 degrees to get them properly cured and or properly degreased, degassed. But anyhow, I just had the ability way back when to, I had a nice big air compressor left over from my construction days, and so I said, well, what the heck? So I bought a starter kit from Cerakote and took my kids' guns apart and sandblasted them and Cerakoted them, and did an okay job. And some friends saw it and they were like, man, I got an old gun, and then more friends saw it. So I started having to charge people. I couldn't just be doing it because I was having friends of friends, which are people I didn't know at this point. For a lot of my friends, I did the work for free for them, and I guess it kind of did what I wanted it to do. It spread the word and brought me business, and so it was sort of a garage business that just kind of started, out on the side. And anyhow, long story short, I started doing enough business that Cerakote said, hey, do you have an FFL? When I was ordering product, and I said, no, why? And they said, do you do any kind of advertising? I was like, well, I have a Facebook page. They said, well, you can get in some big trouble with the ATF if you don't have an FFL.
Because you're handling other people's firearms?
Technically, coating a gun is considered gunsmithing. And
really?
Yeah, back during the Obama administration, he made an executive order that made all gunsmithing acts require having a federal firearms license.
Weird. I never knew that.
So, now, interestingly enough, like suppressors, I can't, with my federal firearms license, I can buy and sell guns. I cannot buy and sell suppressors. I cannot build guns for other people. There are folks that have those licenses as well. I just, all I was doing was Cerakoting.
Yeah, but it's considered gunsmithing.
Right. And the license I have allows me to gunsmith, allows me to buy and sell guns. And I do have a website that you can buy guns on.
Yeah, what's your website?
It is store.capefearcerakote.com.
Okay.
That's where you can go there, and I'm hooked up to about 5 of the nation's largest wholesalers for guns. You can get Glocks, Springfield, Taurus, you can get any number of ARs, brands of ARs. I mean, it's just like going to Cabela's.com, but it's store.capefearcerakote.com, and my prices are pretty strong on there. $500 orders are free shipping. If you order somewhere between $200 and $500, you can call me. I can give you a code that'll waive the shipping charge. You ship it to my store. You pick it up in my store. Try and make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Then I also have my regular website that just shows the work that I do, which is capefearcerakote.com.
Okay.
And I'm on Instagram at Cape Fear Cerakote, Facebook, Cape Fear Cerakote. So all my work is on those pages, so you can look through and see all the various camouflage patterns I've done, the Deadpool guns,
yeah, those are insane, dude.
Some people they come in, they have these ideas, and
I think you did one. It had to be you. It was like it had quotes from Deadpool.
Oh yeah,
all over the gun.
So that was a guy. He got the gun for his brother's wedding present.
Yeah.
And I mean, he went as far as to put a bike horn on the front of the gun.
Wow.
I mean, he had it loaded up with some nice red dot sights and nice flashlight on it, and just a real nice AR to begin with. But then he said, I want this thing just to be over the top Deadpool. Deadpool's my brother's favorite movie character of all time. He said,
wow,
just
that's so cool.
Go over the top with it. Do whatever you can. And I was like, whatever? In that instance, I did kind of take artistic license, if you will, and I put a big, it came out pretty nice.
It came out really crazy, dude. I loved it, dude. So cool. The duck hunt gun that you did.
Yeah, those
very
are fun.
cool.
Appreciate it.
It looked just like the damn duck hunt gun.
You know, it's fun that people, they say, hey, and so I just try.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I tell people, you know, I think I've seen more grown men cry in the last 3-4 years.
That's so cool.
And it makes me tear up when I
Yeah.
see it because.
That's awesome.
me,
That's
but,
so awesome, dude.
But it's, you know, it's nice to be in a business where you do something and.
Imagine the guy that got the Deadpool gun.
Oh yeah.
Imagine,
Yeah.
like, you know, he's so it was the brother that got it for his brother for a wedding present.
Yeah.
And the brother that was getting it didn't know
I
about
had no idea about
it.
it.
Bro, imagine that guy. Y'all need to go check this out. It's on your Instagram.
It's on Instagram. You might have to scroll through. 'cause
Yeah,
it was
look at all. Go ahead and like everything on the way to look at this one. Go on Cape Fear Cerakote Instagram and look at the Deadpool gun. I think you did a pistol too, didn't you? Or was it just the AR?
I've done a bunch of Deadpool pistols.
Yeah, I saw a pistol on there, but like there was one with quotes from Deadpool on it.
Yeah, there's.
Was that the AR or was that the...
That was the air. Well, I usually try and incorporate something like I'll put pew pew or
Yeah.
you know, bad guys with the arrow. Or
Yeah.
Deadpool's gun. You know, I try and mimic Deadpool's actual gun, but switch it up enough that it's, you know, I tell everybody every gun I do is unique. I'm not dumb. I'm not smart enough to remember what I did on the last gun to repeat it. So you're never going to get the same design that I've done before.
Yeah, your camo patterns are like a fingerprint.
Yeah, everyone's going to be different. I mean, none will ever match.
Do you love it? Do you love doing this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can tell. I could tell when I walked in. And just from talking to you 5 minutes, I'm like, this guy loves his job. And that's cool, man.
Finally found something that I love.
That's so cool, dude.
I kind of consider this my quote-unquote retirement job because I'll probably do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, I enjoy it so much that why stop?
Yeah.
And like they say,
I think my GoPro died.
That's
My
all right.
GoPro died on you.
That's all right.
I don't know. Maybe it might have. Oh my God, dude. It's like 9,000 degrees, bro. What is up, dude? We're going to see if
It just flashed back on.
Yeah, let's see if it'll roll. That thing is so hot, bro. Let's see if it'll rock. Yeah, we've probably been talking 30 minutes. Did we,
Oh, yeah.
So
Jeez.
we covered where people can find you. We covered your Facebook, your Instagram, Cape Fear Cerakote on Kerr Avenue. Your prices kind of vary if you want something like I've got. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Let me just say this. Don't just show up. I keep my doors locked because I do have guns in the shop. And if I'm in back sandblasting or in the middle of a spray job, those doors are going to be locked. I don't care how hard you bang. I'm either not going to be able to hear you if I'm sandblasting, or two, if I'm spraying, I'm not stopping my spray job to come get you. So
Call.
I ask, give me a heads up. 15, 20 minutes before you're going to come, shoot me a text and say, hey, I'll be there in 15, 20 minutes. Is that cool? And wait for my response. As long as I respond, we're good. And you'll show up the door will be locked, but I'll be at least on the lookout for you and be there to unlock it.
Yeah. Well, and you guys know your guns are safe.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't need anybody walking in when I'm in the back sandblasting. And
I mean, you got guns all in there. Somebody could just walk in and...
Yeah, and they're other people's guns.
Dude,
so,
my thing is overheating.
All right, man.
Dude.
We can wrap this up.
Well, dude, it's like 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. You guys, thanks for watching the podcast. I've got a GoPro that's about 9,000 degrees. I think this might be this is my 9. So call Rich first before you show up.
Yeah.
Get your gun looking like this, because I'm going to tell you right now, when I pull up to the ramp in the duck blind with this bad boy, they gonna be watching, all right?
And look, if you call me, come in. If you see this, let me know that you saw us on the podcast, and I will give you a nice little discount on your Cerakote job.
Oh, that's great, dude. Awesome.
So, but yeah, just mention that you saw it on Lex's
podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I appreciate you helping me out. This
Yeah.
hopefully helps me as much as it helps you. But
Go over to Cape Fear Cerakote, like their page, check out their videos and content over there. You guys don't forget, click the like button on this podcast if you liked it, if it gave you some good information, which I know it did. If you're a hater, give me a thumbs down, because any reaction's better than no reaction. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep this cool content going. I'm going to have cool people like Rich on the podcast, and I'm just stoked about it, man. So you guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Rich, thank you again.
Hey, man, if you get good feedback, let me know. Maybe we can do some kind of giveaway.
Absolutely.
Say, get together in a couple
We're gonna
months,
collaborate,
do some
dude.
kind of giveaway or something, and some kind of contest giveaway. Do something like that.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Well,
Cool.
thank you. Thank you,
man.
guys. We love you.
Hunt for greatness.